This is Stay Paid, the marketing podcast that gives listeners a competitive edge to stay motivated, find inspiration, and discover proven real-world tactics from some of the best marketers across the nation.
Welcome to another Silver Dollar episode of Stay Paid. My name is Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Akery.
And the email inbox continues to be one of the most competitive arenas in marketing to get your message seen, read, and most importantly, responded to. So how do you break through the noise and the clutter to grab your prospects' attention and actually get people to respond to your emails? In this episode, we'll be following up on our last episode on email, where we talked about how to build an email list. And now we're going to tackle the challenge of how to get people to take action once you've emailed them.
Yeah, that is the $1 million question. And also, when you think about your emails, because we get a lot of people who, when they're sending out their digital stuff or whatever, they're just like, oh man, I'm only getting a 14% open rate or whatever. You just got to think about it. Like if you sent to 100 people, that's 14 people that saw you today that had not seen you yesterday or had not seen you at that point. Yeah. And they see you. And you got it. Like I think often in social and email, when we look at these percentages, these open rates and these click-through rates and stuff like that, we get discouraged because the numbers are low. These are industry type averages, but you got to think about it as like actual real human beings responding, real human beings. Like I shared the example all the time that we learned on social. If 100 people are on your story, watching your story, imagine walking into a movie theater and there's 100 people there.
Ready to listen to what
to watch what you want to say. I mean, that'd be insane. You'd be nervous at that. But yet we minimize having 50 people watch our stories or 100 people. These are real human beings. We have minimized 14 people opening up our email.
Yeah, how would you react? Like, let's take that to TikTok with the one that got like 4 million. How would you react?
Yeah, if there was 4 million people.
Into a crowd of 4 million people.
I probably would be so inspired. I get energy from crowds.
You do, man.
Like the hardest thing for me is when I present, where I can't see anybody or there's like 3 people in front of me and it's like, oh my gosh.
I think when we went remote, we did like maybe 2 all staff meetings where the whole team wasn't on. Yeah. And we're like, all right, we can't. You're like, we can't do this. I need to see people.
I need to see people's faces, their energy.
All right, but we're talking about email. So we have some tips for you. The first tip is to keep it short. So Boomerang did this study where they studied emails from constant contact customers. It was like 2.1 million customers that they studied here. They reported the ideal length of an email is between 50 and 125 words. That got a response rate of 50%. A similar study found that emails with approximately 20 lines of text or 200 words had the highest click-through rate as well. So if you're writing an email, you want to make sure that you're keeping it short. There's a caveat, though, because they also found the emails that were 10 words or shorter got a response rate of 36%, so much, much lower. Keep in mind, your prospects are only seeing, you said 14%, on average 24% of your emails. Yep. So you want to take advantage of that moment that you have with them and keep it short. That's about a 30-second read time. Just to give you kind of an idea, 125 words is about a 30-second read time.
Okay. And question for you, because I don't know if the research talked about this or not, is did they show anything or talk about anything that had to do with how you lay out the text?
I brought this point up before on web design. There's sort of this, or this copy, there's like this idea of the F-shape pattern where people will give greater attention to a longer line in the beginning, and then they'll start to scan down the left side of the page, and then they'll kind of jump in halfway through, and then they'll just keep scrolling vertically. So there's that kind of idea. I didn't find anything specifically on that other than when it comes to which is what we'll talk about next, which is this idea of keeping it simple and writing emails at a 3rd grade reading level, because they perform 36% better in terms of open rates than those written at a college reading level and have a 17% higher response rate than emails written at a high school reading level.
So all you have to do is go and just write your email, take it to ChatGPT and say...
I actually tried that this morning, but I'm blocked right now.
Please write this email at a 3rd grade level.
Yeah.
That's literally, and it will rewrite it for you.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
So, I mean, keeping it simple, that's sort of our second point there, but it's super valuable that your emails are free-flowing. Informal emails are the best at getting responses. If you want to check your grade level of your email, one way you can do it is go into ChatGPT. The servers were full this morning, so I couldn't get to it.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. Yep.
So I went to HemingwayApp.com.
I've used this one before.
You have?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. On the they'll show you your reading level. They'll show you how many sentences, how many paragraphs.
And it will give you suggestions of what you can.
Give you suggestions of like the difficult words or hard to read sentences. I ran 2 of our emails through that. So our best performing email, I think, that we've ever sent is our can I send you a sample email?
Yeah.
And I ran that through. It was a 7th grade reading level. There was 113 words, 9 sentences, but 8 paragraphs. So literally almost every sentence is its own paragraph.
What is that a testament to? It is a testament that people scan.
Yeah.
They scan, because the more it's like a paragraph, the more you're just scanning the quick bullet points almost.
Yeah. So I ran one of our other emails through. So we had a price increase recently. I mean, paper's going out at crazy. Postage is up. So I ran that through this testing level. It was written at a 12th grade level. It flagged words like volatility and exceptional. It flagged sentences with more than 30 syllables.
Wow.
So keep that in mind. Sentences with more than 30 syllables is harder to read. It's harder for people to pay attention to. It was super high on the formal scale. Now here's the or formal scale. Here's the crazy part. That email is accessible by only 61% of the general public.
When you say accessible, meaning like they can interpret it and understand it?
Yeah, written at an 11.7
Really?
grade level.
That is just shocking. Gabriel's shaking her head. Our content writer is just like, oh.
English majors.
Yeah, it's a travesty. Yeah, I mean.
But it really does go to show you, how much care and how much thought you should be putting into it. But also,
keep it
people
simple.
want conversational emails.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They want to be spoken to, not spoken at. They do not want to feel like they're having to, what's Donald Miller say? If you confuse, you lose.
Yep.
Right? If you're confusing people in your email messages, you're going to lose. Another great tip here is that messages that express either moderate positivity or negativity evoked a 10 to 15% more responses than completely neutral emails.
Wow.
So don't be afraid to show emotion. In fact, it's going to help you get a better response.
I like how it said moderate positivity, because too much positivity, people don't believe, because nobody's that happy. Yeah. Like nobody's that excited, right? Think about it. You're a cynic in life. When you see somebody, nobody's that happy. Yeah. Nobody's that positive. They're full of, but.
But think about, so you might want to type into ChatGPT, make this more emotional too.
You say, please write this at a 3rd grade level.
Moderately positive. With no more than 30 syllables per sentence.
And it will do it for you.
It will do it
I'm
for you.
freaking out at this ChatGPT.
All right, so there's our first 2 tips. Keep it short, keep it simple. The third tip is to keep it relevant. You want to talk about them, not yourself. Mm-hmm. You want to offer value when you can that requires little effort on their part or little expectations on their part, right? So I think about some of the emails that I get. One of the emails that got me recently was people, now that our TikTok's kind of blowing up and Instagram and everything, people will email me and they'll say, hey, I edited a few reels for you. I can do this style. And they would use an example, like I think even Alex Hermosi was one of the examples that they used. Would love to send you a sample. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, of course. I have to do nothing. There's nothing required from me. They got a response. They sent me a sample. It didn't go anywhere, but they sent the response, and now I become a qualified lead for that person. And that's really what you're looking for in your email marketing.
There's one that's similar that keeps getting me, and it's getting me because I have so many meetings and so many calls, but they're literally going intro meeting with you on Monday. And that's the subject line. And then it is, hey, Luke, can I meet with you Monday at 10? I have it booked. And then they tell me their thing. But I'm always reading those emails and I'm always clicking them because I think, oh, do I have an intro meeting on Monday?
That's a great one.
And it gets me on actually looking at it. So it's funny because it's like, it gets me in. I'm not positive because I have responded to like one of them because I was actually interested and it hit the pain point that I was thinking about at the time, but it has got me to open almost all of them. Mm-hmm. Almost all of them. It's like I see it as the new forward. You know how people were putting forward or reply up there in their email. So you think, oh, this is a reply. So you open it. It's like the new that for me. Like I'm opening them, all of them, like intro meeting with you on Tuesday or meeting with you on Tuesday, meeting with you on Monday. And you're like, oh, who am I meeting with on Monday? And then you open it and you're like, oh, I'm not really meeting with you, but you want a meeting with me on Monday.
Here's a great email that you can send if you're a real estate agent and you are, you're looking for that reply. You want to offer value without expecting much for them. If you know your market, you know how much equity on average people have built in their homes over the last couple of years, right? Mm-hmm. So you send an email to them simply stating, Luke, homes in your area have increased X dollars over the last X years. can I share with you how much your home is worth?
Yeah, it's so
or
good.
how much equity you may have gained, right? And avoid words like equity because I don't think that's third grade.
That's not 11.
How much your home is worth now versus 3 years ago, and all that requires is a yes, and that's what. It also kind of comes to our next point, which is to keep it specific. So you want to make sure that you have a single call to action. You always want to make sure that you ask a question. I kind of am back and forth between this idea of creating a link to a call to action that requires people to fill out a form versus simply getting people to send a reply, because that email that I mentioned earlier where we just ask a simple question in the header, in the subject, Luke, can I send you a sample, a PDF sample? That gets the most just replies from people. Crazy. And the crazy part is we get no's and yeses. So people are actually taking the time to reply and say, no, thank you. Yeah. Which just continues to qualify and build.
Well, we just sent out an email, connect with me on social media. Some of you maybe have got it, and we got tons of replies. Yeah. I don't know if we got a ton of negative. You guys didn't share it with me, but I got a ton of follows.
No, we didn't get any negative from that.
Yeah. No, Luke, I won't follow you. No.
All right, our last one here is, and probably the most important one, is keep at it. So Yesware found that if you're going to get a reply, 90% of the time it's going to happen within a day. So you want to give people time, but you want to continue to follow up. Keep the follow-up message concise, but be persistent. One email is not going to get 100%
how often
of
do
your
we
net.
send the, can I send you a sample once a month?
On average, yeah.
Yeah, once a month. Yeah.
And so now it's kind of built up as
we send literally an email almost every day. I know some of you guys are thinking, yeah, you guys send me way too
average
many
one
emails.
email a day.
Yeah, we are one email a day. Hey, what good's a list if you don't hit the list, you know?
That's what Grant Cardone says. Hit the list. Yep. All right, here's a bonus tip for you. Kind of a trivia question. Which sign-off do you think was the most effective? Okay, so which of these four sign, you know what a sign-off is, right?
Yeah.
So which sign-off do you think would be the most effective? Thanks, thank you, thanks in advance, or best? Thanks, thank you, thanks in advance, or best?
I would say thanks.
Thanks?
Yeah.
That was the second best. So you were pretty close.
Thanks in advance?
Thanks in advance.
Oh man, my gut was going, say thanks in advance, but you know why I went with thanks? Because I always say thanks in my email. So I was like, nah, thanks is probably more natural.
So a 66% of response rate. Thanks was 63%. Thank you was 58%. And
it makes
best
sense though.
Was
you
the
have
lowest,
some
which is 51%.
obligation at that point. You feel like I have to now respond.
See, I'm the opposite. If I see thanks in advance, I'm like, I'm not going to respond.
I'm not responding to you.
Don't you dare assume what I'm going to do. All right, so there you go. There are some tips on how to get people to respond to your emails. Thank you so much for listening. You can head on over to staypaidpodcast.com for those show notes. We're going to lay those out for you because I know we go kind of quick in these silver dollars. If you like this episode and want to show your support, we ask you to head on over to Apple Podcast or Spotify, drop us a 5-star review, and leave a comment. And the best way to show your support is to share this episode with a friend. All right, so I'm in the market for like a new dog, right?
Okay.
My current dog, I can't actually take to the park because the ducks keep trying to bite him. Yeah, the ducks keep trying to bite him. I guess that's what I get for getting a purebred dog. Oh, come on.
Oh, a purebred.
Last week's was better. Last week's was better.
I laughed so hard when I read that. I like having Gabrielle on the Zooms here because I can see her.
You can see her reaction. She's just like looking up like, what the?
All right. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com or you can find us on social. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Akery. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm still trying to recover from that dad joke. Here is the action item for you guys. Is to look at your emails and ask yourself, hey, are you doing your emails at a third grade writing level, and are they 50 to 100 words? And see if you can go write an email this week that is that actual email. And if you're in real estate, use Josh's example of, hey, homes have increased by this much. Would you like to know what your home is worth? Mm-hmm. Like, do something like that this week. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers is top producers take action. Take action on that today.